open to hearing how other people might see you and experience you is a whole nother learning experience.
The thing that you're trying to overcome is you, like you're holding yourself back.
It's usually gets hard right before it's going to change.
My main messages are gratitude, purpose, and connection. And I have different stories in my life that I lean in on all those things that they're all they're interestingly separate, but they're also very intentionally the same. And it's really naming some of the moments and experiences and being present. And one of the things and quotes and that I often share with people is moments become memories when we're grateful in the moment. And it's gratitude for me is so much more than a practice. It's a lifestyle. It's a thought process. It's a state of being. And the reason why I'm kind of leaning in on this gratitude piece is it really helped me understand what I have, what I am, and what I know for sure. And that freed me up to pursue more because I knew I had what I actually need. And this is one little myth I want to kind of debunk about gratitude, and I want to get your perspective on it. So oftentimes when people say you should just be grateful, not just, but you should be grateful for what you have, they have this sense that it should be complacent, like you shouldn't want anything else. Now, obviously, you can imagine my natural response back to that, but I thought, what is that thought that people are having? Like, why is gratitude related to complacent or gratefulness related to that? But the thing that I've really kind of connected more than anything is being grateful for what you have is more you understanding what you actually need while you pursue everything that you want. And I have this firm belief that money doesn't change us, it reveals us. Success doesn't change us, it reveals us. Like we're just waiting to bubble up and come out. And people are like, oh, well, like how I treat the people now and how I treat money now and success now and conversations now is how I'm going to always treat them. I'm like, we give our future selves a lot of credit of, well, when I'm happy, then or when I'm successful, then I will do something. That's not reality because we bring this version of ourselves with us everywhere unless we're continually working on it. And that's something too, that the ability to learn and grow is this abundance mindset, right? And so like I don't know everything about anything. I know a lot about a lot, but it hungers me. And that's where the curiosity, when we talked earlier, that's where it comes from, is I have the opportunity to learn from every conversation if I'm open to it. And so that's something that I think, again, just now 2 phone calls in, 2 calls here. Like, I also feel like you're that same way. So tell me, like, how are you reinforcing your learning? What are you learning? What are you watching? What are you doing? How are you fueling your fire and fanning your flame to being your most true, authentic self?
I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner. I feel like we stop learning when we're not here anymore. So
Sure.
I love to read. I love to listen to podcasts. I'm continually going to school for some kind of training through my profession. And also I learn from other people. I listen. I love to surround myself. I call my friends my top advisors.
Sure. The advisory board. Yeah.
I have an accountant friend, Natasha, she's the one I call when I got to do these taxes. Like, I love learning from the people that I trust and surrounded myself when I have really great people around me that I do right now. So I learn from them, and I learn through them as a mirror for myself. I listen if someone says like, hey, I noticed this feeling in you. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I was having that. Thank you for being that curiousness about yourself, like dropping all the ego and defensiveness of just like being open to hearing how other people might see you and experience you is a whole nother learning experience for you. So I love all of that. So lifelong learner, believing in being able to look back and where I started and to where I am now. And it's just been a transformation. And I do love to help other people through those transformations too, to know that like you can do this. And back to your gratitude. Gratitude is not about always being happy and being positive. If you're having a hard time, it's like being grateful, sure, but also giving yourself space to feel 2 things at once so you can feel grateful and also have compassion that right now is really hard.
Tony Robbins says you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. So if you're angry, then focus on what you're grateful for, which again, there's lots of different ways to get to a place, right? But full transparency, and again, just learning more about it. But the difference kind of between men and women. So women have this unique ability to kind of be in this paradoxical headspace of two different emotions at the same time and carrying them equally, which I really honestly am amazed by. And now it makes a lot more sense how I grew up with my two sisters and my mom, understanding like happy and frustrated can also be in the same energy space, can also be happening. But men typically are more like we focus on separation. And so I think that's something I'm trying to lean in it as a little bit as well. It's just creating awareness. Again, when I say men, I don't mean all. I mean, typically like leaning in kind of general energies. I'm not a firm believer that we are finished products. And so one of the things that I always try to lean in it is like understanding that we don't know what everybody's going through. And so even though somebody sounds really positive and powerful, they may also be in the middle of a healing chapter. And you talk about healing a lot. You talk about, obviously you're I don't know if you would consider yourself healed or healing. And I feel like those chapters of healing are the thing that make us more relatable and empathetic to people that are also in that chapter of healing. And you talk about trauma-informed care. I know we talked a little bit about that as well. Can you lean into a little bit of that? So like if anybody out there listening is actually in a healing chapter, kind of maybe the path through, but also having them embrace that healing chapter instead of wish it were over.
Yeah, just like leaning into it. Sometimes you have to get into your basic needs when you're in this moment of crisis and just focusing on like getting enough water and start really simple, getting some sunshine, putting your feet in the grass and realizing like this is the moment that I will someday, speaking to your future self, remember, and like learning how to take care of your very simple things when you are in that maybe a harder time in your life. And we're all writing our own chapter books, so having different chapters of your life and normalizing that and realizing sometimes before you're starting your next chapter. I've seen this with the hundreds of people that I've worked with now. It's usually gets hard right before it's going to change. It's like something happens, like an ocean current wave in that crest. It's like, all right, the tension building, something's coming. It's going to be hard. Something happened. It's going to be hard. And that's where we go back into our basic needs and just little sips of water, little bits of sunshine, self-compassion, and getting support. You don't have to, like, we're all life rafts for each other. So find someone who's not sinking in that and like get your hand up. And that's what mental health care is all about. We're not here to tell you something's wrong with you. We're here to hold your hand and to help hear you, get in that mud with you, to help you float. So, that's really trauma-informed care. There's nothing wrong with you for going through chronic stress. There's nothing wrong with you for having things that have happened. And you don't have to be ashamed. You just need to ask someone to be there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes the belief that it can be different is that first thing that we need, because sometimes when we're in something so much, that first thought of untelling yourself the thought of this is how it's always going to be, because sometimes that's the reason why we don't take the first step, is we don't believe that we could be in a new place. And that's, again, elegantly what you just said, is understanding that mental health is something that the only way that we're going to change the way people think about mental health is talking about it. And that's the thing that I appreciate about what you do and what I do. And my encouraging messages aren't just to stay on the mountaintop. It's sometimes just maybe the moment to recognize, and again, this is more of an analogy, and I'm sure people have heard this, but maybe something that I share makes someone who felt like they were being buried now maybe realize that they've been planted.
I love that.
And you talk about growth and plants and all the things. So do you have anything to share back to that before I go into a question?
I just love it. I feel like I've said that, and the people that I work with, we say that, as far as like that darkness time in your life, like just knowing that like you're here, this adversity is possibly shaping you in a way that you're not realizing yet. And that's what I love about storytelling and healing. And our mission at Carolina Counseling and my nationwide speaking is about ending mental health stigma. And I've been in the field for almost 2 decades now, and I'm so excited that it's lifting. It's lifting. That there's nothing wrong with you for having a hard time, or also just like taking care of your mental health isn't just about having a hard time. Sometimes it's about like getting that sunshine and working out and like doing things for yourself and surrounding yourself with good people. Mental health is not just about going to see a therapist, and I can say that because I am one.
Right. You're a licensed therapist who's saying it's not just about coming to see me. Yeah.
That's and it's about taking care of your health, your body, your brain. It's all of that is your mental health. It's in your gut, what you put in your body, what you put around it. Having like positive things that you're following on social media is like just really like inundating yourself with that support from every angle to help elevate and rise yourself.
Yeah. There's the word elevate again. Yeah. The one of the things that I've recognized that's a common thread through kind of everything that I talk about and I'm assuming everything that you kind of work through as well, but kind of this sense of self, this self-awareness, this self-accountability, this self-compassion, right? This sense of self. And oftentimes it's, I don't know if it's overcoming self-limiting beliefs or overcoming self-sabotage. I saw that you held up the book, The Mountain Is You, in one of your posts.
Yeah.
So that book, I read a page and I had to like stop and apply a page. I had to stop and apply like 14 different ways, some of these things. Right. And it's so interesting to kind of think about, like, maybe the self-sabotage is serving us in a way that is creating certainty, but maybe it's not the certainty that we want, but we crave certainty so much that holding ourselves back and keeping ourselves back and talking ourselves down and criticizing ourselves is creating certainty, but it's not actually authentic senses of who we are. And there's a lot of like this personal agency, right? You know this, you're doing CPT. So obviously the cognitive dissonance is like when you start to make some of these shifts, you're going to have to shed some of the old beliefs to make room for the new ones. And in the book, The Mountain Is You, if you haven't read that, I just brace yourself. I know you've read it, but read it because it almost empowers. It's not a shame that like the thing that you're trying to overcome is you, like you're holding yourself back and you're the barrier. That's not what that's not what any of this is about. It's about maybe the thing that you need to work on, and maybe the best journey, the best experience, the best growth that you're ever going to find is actually you. It's not the external thing all the time. And it's an and, right? Because we know we have to have the external world and an internal world, but there's just so much around when people are going through some of these things. How do you suggest, this is one of many questions I'm going to ask you about kind of helping me and everybody listening. So how do you suggest people kind of shed and tell themselves a new story so that they can go from where they are to where they want to be?
I love that. And I do hike a lot. So that book and living in the mountains has been very inspiring for self-reflection, because like I'm in the second part of my story and looking back at my first part of my story, and the listeners, you're all going to be in your own version of where you are in your story. So number one, believe that you can see and do different things. It all starts with the belief that you can. And then the second is noticing when you do it and going with that curiosity of just asking, I did that again. Oh, there's the pattern. That's that pattern of like, I abandoned myself for the happiness of others. That was part one of my story. Very, very many times I did things for the people around me, knowing that it wasn't for me. And I did that so many times that I just started noticing, and then I got out, and now I look back in the rearview mirror and I make a promise to myself never to abandon myself again. And everyone's going to have a little bit of their own patterns, their own tendencies, like the book talks about, the self-sabotaging. And the goal of it is self-mastery. And you can't master yourself if you don't really know yourself. And it's okay to have done things that you know weren't for you. If anything, that's where you get to really have that depth of relationship with yourself, to say, oh, that felt wrong. And I knew it was wrong. And I did it anyways. And that gave me that data point of what wrong for me feels like. So now I can find out what's right for me.
Yeah. Wow. The recognition that you just alluded to there is maybe the gap. And I'm sure for you, it's more than maybe, but understanding like this desire to do, like the belief that you can, and then just kind of giving yourself that moment to be present enough to recognize when you do. Because the progress that we actually make is going to be more meaningful than being on the other side of it, because the other side of it is only based on the current version of ourselves, not the version making progress. We may want something different, but what we want may change as we continue to grow and do. So it's such a in the moment, right? So kind of this, when I talk to people about where they want to be, I try to figure out, is it actually where you want to be, or do you just want to be somewhere different than where you are? Like, let's add some specificity to that. Is it because where you believe you can, or where you actually want to be? So I get really curious with people's desire to be in a new place. And, there's a quote that I heard is, if you don't know what kind of life you want, you're going to have the life you have. Now, I don't mean that in a negative connotation. Just so many people say that they want something different. They want a new life. They want all these different things. But when you say, okay, what does that look like? What does a good, healthy mental health space look like for you? Because that's different. Like you said, everybody's on their own journey. So my real suggestion also, and the thing that I've had to learn, still learning, is very clear on the vision of what exactly I want. And then reaching out to people like yourselves to kind of figure out, where are they? How can I learn from them? How can I add something else to my abilities, my knowledge, my wisdom, my experiences, so that I can be more ready for something coming on the trail, right? On the journey, on the hike. Because I've shared this before, but being prepared for what's been prepared for me it offers me peace of all of the things that we've gone through. And it's really hard in the moment, obviously, the adversity we've gone through. We're not necessarily grateful for the adversity, but we're grateful for what the adversity made us, how it shaped us. Now, it may have broken us, but with time, we may see that it actually shaped us into becoming the person that we are today. And that's kind of what you've alluded to as well. Some of the rather challenging things that you've been through, some of the trauma that you've been through, some of the adversity you've been through, made you this incredibly lemonade making, radiator, positive, intentional, glowing person that you are. And I don't know if that resonates with you, as like this gratitude for your journey while you're still in the midst of the journey.
I think that for me, for my experience, that's the healing that I'm in. And when I'm able to look at the whole story, the whole picture, all of them, everything can be in there. The hard, the beautiful, the sweet, all of it is in there. It's all, we're all building our own lives in this essence of that relationship with self. And that self-mastery is a practice. It's a intention building. And I had written down this one thing that you just talked about, and you maybe didn't put this word, but like finding your why and your internal compass. Like we all have our own internal compass. And when we do things that are not for us, it feels a certain intuitive no. And when we do things that are for us, it feels an internal yes. If we can get quiet and still and start finding that compass, finding that voice, then from that space, you start creating a life that is really for you. It's not about what your friends are doing. It's not about what your family says you should do or all of those things. It's because that's going to keep getting you lost. But when you can find yourself in that deep internal compass and come from that and find your passions, your purpose, your why, and build that deeper relationship with yourself, that the good stuff starts coming into place a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was actually going to be, you had kind of already answered / asked one of the questions that as I was just sitting here thinking about. So as our listeners are, they're doing life, they're busy, they're productive, they're juggling many things. They may be stressed. They may feel like they're ready for a change, that they feel like they're not really their full selves. They're not really living their authentic life. Kind of, if you can, if you're willing to kind of just share like maybe something or a resource or some advice, because we've all been in that place, and we may revisit every once in a while, kind of that like, where am I? What am I doing? Is it aligned with who I am? It's healthy to establish that connection with yourself on a routine basis as well, in my personal opinion, because what I wanted may not be what I want now, and life happens, right? Obviously, you have a couple of daughters, and so like that may change some things, and kids definitely have that opportunity to change some things in our lives.
Absolutely.
So what could you share with them to help them through that?
I definitely have done the busy parent seasons of my life. And through that, like, I was a sports mom. So I would find little sips of air and getting nature, movement, and music. These are the three things that were the biggest healers in my life from my experience and the things that I work with people on. Nature has this way of co-regulating your nervous system. So sports mom life, I would put my phone down. I would take my flip-flops off and put my feet in the grass, get some sunshine, and just really be present in that moment, watching my daughters play. And those are like what I call little sips of air for our mental health, for our wellness. Putting on some music in the morning. I have playlists on my websites for my work, for my clients and people from wherever to listen to. Like setting like your morning energy is amazing. Like listening to some music or a podcast that's going to help uplift your day, even if you're not in the mood for it. Having like your coffee in your favorite mug and just put your phone down and just be in that moment of a simple joy. And listening to things like that can really like set those little bits of busyness. And I practice not saying I'm busy. Those words that you say to yourself matter.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of amazing things happening right now.
Yeah.
Is my reframe for busy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a new way to look at the same thing, right?
Your words matter. So like how you talk to yourself matters. Telling yourself every day you're doing a great job. You've got a lot of amazing things and big things happening right now, and you're handling it. Your affirmations, your self-talk is part of your self-mastery.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I'm glad you shared some of those relatable examples. And, we've talked about music on here before, on the podcast before, and I got a lot of trouble because people were teasing me about jock jams when I was a kid, but it is, right? So like, whoop, there it is, was a thing. But it's the one thing that I will say too, again, this is a relatable statement in the sense of a reframe, not a judgment and a criticism of people, but really understanding that pressure is a privilege. And a lot of the things that we now are stressed about are the things that we were praying for. And I've also seen a lot of quotes these days, really within the last 24 hours, like it's happened and come across my feed like 4 or 5 times, of how lucky are you to be exhausted, living in your purpose, doing what gives you joy. And that's the same busyness that we've talked about, but maybe it's a matter of, how do I re-look at the same thing with energy-giving words, but also understanding that like the pressure of being a business owner, the pressure of being able to help other people, the pressure of being a mom, the pressure of being somebody that loves you, that you need to show up for. The privilege piece for me is rooted in gratitude. Like the privilege is I'm so grateful to have the pressure that what I do actually matters and it's something meaningful.
I love that. And I just dropped off my youngest daughter at college. So I'm on the other side of parenting and have been experiencing this level of freedom of time and space, being able to look back on like, what was it that mattered? And it was those little bits, all those little bits of time with them and little giggles and music in the car and feet in the grass, and just really knowing like that's like what we call in our world, seek the path of least regret. Don't let it go past you. And it's a practice, it's a daily practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the power of being glad you did instead of wishing you would have.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's how you write. That's how you write your story, from empowerment. And that's it. So every day we're writing our story.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that you said earlier that really honestly gave me the chills, and it just did again. You said you're writing your story every day. Some people take a break and they think, well, when I'm working on my goals, I'm writing my story, but you're actually writing your story every day. So that's, and this comes from a place of opportunity and hope and empowerment. What kind of story do you want to be writing? What kind of story do you want to be living? Because it's not happening by accident. The things you're listening to, the things you're reading, the conversations you're having, how you're feeling, how you're taking care of yourself, what you're eating, what you're drinking, all the things we chalk up as just life. But it actually is a story that we're writing every day. And hopefully, again, listening to what you had just shared for people who are ready, who want to, right? They have this like tension inside that they want to make a change in themselves, or maybe in their relationships or their career, or just in their own mental health. You know, I think always pursuing your version of a healthy, because people ask all the time, what is good mental health? And really defining what that is for you. Like, when do you feel my pursuit? I was going to say, when do you feel happy? But I have a pivot on that. I've stopped pursuing happiness and actually started more recognizing peace within myself. And happiness for me still comes and goes. And so Jaclyn, there's a monk right now who's kind of doing his thing, but somebody asked him on CEO Mindset, asked him, are you happy? And he said, sometimes. He said, but I'm not actually pursuing happiness. I'm pursuing peace. Because it makes room for all these different things. And one of the things that, again, just getting to talk to you a couple different times, you bring that energy, not of performance, but of presence. And you bring that energy of peace to again, the couple times I've had the chance to talk to you. And obviously, I'm sure the people that are listening, because of just who you are and the work that you've done and the work that you continue to do. And so I just wanted to honor that and give you that credit as well.
Oh, thank you, TJ. As far as our own inner peace and that inner compass is something that we've all been building, whether we're realizing it or not, and just like leaning inward and leaning in with yourself and giving yourself permission and self-compassion that you don't have to be happy every day. If anything, that's that expectation. When we have expectations on ourselves, I talk about this for so many years, and I have this tattoo that reminds me all the time to follow my own intuition. This is why it's on my right wrist, to like trying to do things to be happy or making other people happy. And I remember going to Disney World one time and sitting there writing my first article about why expectations lead to resentment. While everybody was there because they had expected this grand thing, and they were all sitting on the curb eating dry turkey legs. And like, this was not what the commercial said. And I always say, like, why did you expect it? Like, your expectation is leading to your resentment, that you should have been happier and it didn't do that. So really managing our expectations and giving permission to not be happy, giving space for what is. And also, like what you just said was so powerful, that seeking inner contentment, because I had inner contentment sitting there watching everyone eat the turkey leg, because I was just observing. I had already known it was going to be possibly a little chaotic because there was just a lot of energy there. So having that essence of like being able to be present in the moments that you're in and having that deep breath and having that pause and being curious and even maybe a little silly can be some of the best ways to take care of our mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that. And I haven't been to Disney World or Disneyland yet, so I now have different expectations for it. So, so as we kind of wrap up, I want our audience to be able to reach out to you and connect with you. Again, I'm better because I've had the chance to talk to you a couple times and learn from you and gain some inspiration and insight. So I never want to hog that for myself. And so can you share with everybody kind of what's the best way to connect with you, whether it's social media, your website, or what, how can they reach out to you and learn from your guidance and wisdom?
Absolutely. I'm Lemonade Maker on Instagram. I have CarolinaCounselingWellness.com and JaclynFortier.org. And those are my best ways. Just Googling me can help you find more information, and are having some really great projects for the mental health initiative coming up in 2026. I'm really excited to be a part of some big things coming. So
yeah. When's the book coming out? Do you know this yet?
I am looking towards the beginning of 2026. So
okay. Well, everybody be looking for that, because anything Jaclyn's saying is worth reading and listening to. I can vouch for that. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you being here. You've already given me so many insights to think about, to share with other people. Again, just honoring and calling to the light that you give. The energy that you share, even when you're not on the beach or riding a bike, wherever you were the other day, I saw you posting, like, I've never seen somebody look more joyful riding a bike. I just rode a bike trying to record myself, and I looked terrified because I was afraid I was going to fall off. So
I definitely had my hat on backwards, and yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So, but I just appreciate who you are and what you're doing, and the energy that you're giving people, and being the change, and just offering your unique self to the rest of us. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here with us, and I cannot wait to share this with the rest of the world. So thank you.
Thank you, TJ.